y'all, I'm Emily, the Shady Grove Stitcher, and I love creating beautiful hand-stitched pieces. Welcome to the Pink Room, where I share my love of cross-stitch by showcasing projects I've completed in my quest to fill an antique cabinet my husband and I inherited from my in-laws.
Hey Flosstube, welcome back to the Pink Room. I've been watching so many people say, hi, I'm, in this case, Emily, and this is a channel all about cross-stitch, and I never do that. I just assume you know what's going on here, so if you're new here, my name's Emily. This is a channel about cross-stitch. And I have quite a few things to show you today. I kept getting things out to get ready for the video, and then I ran out of table space, and I thought, oh dear, this is gonna be a show. So let's start with some life updates. First and foremost, so in the very beginning, I say that like I've been doing this forever. 3 whole months ago when we started this song and dance, I feel like I was telling you guys all the time, like I have X number of subscribers, because every new subscriber I got, I felt like, holy cow, there's actually somebody out there that wants to listen to me talk about this. I was really that surprised. Well, that hasn't stopped, but I did think you might get tired of hearing about it. So I've had a couple of videos that have done better than others, and talking to some of my other Flosstube friends were like, I can't figure it out. Like, I can't figure out why some are more popular. And it doesn't really matter. It would just be interesting to know. So my last video about the Lowry stand did pretty well, and I got a bunch of followers. I'm up past 1,750 now, which I think is a really big deal. So just wanted to say welcome to all you new guys. So glad to have you here. I don't promise to stay on topic. It would be great if I could do that, but I'm not particularly known for staying on topic. But I am happy to have you here, and I'm so glad that you found me. And I love when you guys are leaving me comments just to say hello and that you had a great time. There is nothing. My number one favorite comment is when y'all say, I laughed so hard, I had a good time, I smiled so big. Like, that's what I want. I want to put good out into the world, and if we're doing that here in the Pink Room, I'm super happy about that. Now, we won't ask this one over on the couch if he's having a good time, because he will just huff and puff and tell us that we are interrupting his nap. So I'm talking to you guys, not him. I sat down to do this video earlier. Let's back up. If you haven't watched old videos, I have a situation with my robot vacuum. So I feel like for a couple of videos in a row, every time I would sit down to record, the robot vacuum would start. And she's so loud. Like, I love having her. I love that she sweeps every day. She's just so loud. So today there was a break in my day, and I thought, okay, I'm gonna go in there and record. And then I looked at the clock and I was like, nope, Rosie will come in and interrupt. I can't do that. And then I sold, at our house, so in the bathrooms, they all had the same mirror, different sizes, but the same mirror. And they were huge. They had a beautiful frame on them. Well, when we bought the house, those original mirrors were in the garage. And I assumed, stupidly, that the previous owner was going to leave them in the garage when he left. He didn't. He put them on the curb. So all of the old, big, beautiful mirrors are gone. And his wife, her style was very unique. It fit them great. And the house was lovely. Like, even objectively, I'm like, not my style, but really it was pretty. So, and I don't really even remember how she made it work. In one of our bathrooms, there was this really modern black light fixture with this really opulent gold mirror. And I was like, I can't make that work in my life. So I was selling the mirror and the light fixtures, and I'm telling you all of this because a lady was coming today to pick up the mirror. So after I had gotten past, oh, the robot vacuum's gonna interrupt me, then I got to the point that I thought, nope, I cannot sit, the window that I sit in front of here, the front door is like right here. So I couldn't have her coming up to the front door and me talking to myself. She doesn't know I'm talking to you. She just thinks I'm talking to myself in the bedroom. Flosstube's really glamorous, friends at home. You just have no idea. So that was special. And then along the same robot vacuum theme, she ate my husband's shoes. We went, when was it? Saturday, maybe? Tuesday. There was a town hall, a city town hall where you could come and you could ask the mayor questions, and he breaks it down by neighborhood. And so we were gonna go, and as it turned, sidebar, not like this is on topic of cross stitch, but anyway, we were gonna go to the town hall because we thought it would be a great opportunity to hear what he had to say about development and hear what some of the neighbors had gripes about or things that they loved or whatever. We showed up, the mayor did not come. One city council member came and 4 people. My husband and I were like, I don't want to go inside and do this to you. So we left and went to Chipotle. Was a much better decision. We enjoyed that a lot. But when we got home, he took his shoes off, and he wears boots to work every day. So he had taken these tennis shoes off and didn't think about that he maybe should put them up on the shelf. So I'm sitting in the office and I get this notification on my phone that says Rosie's wheel is suspended. And I'm like, well, we don't have stairs, so how'd she manage that? And I go in the closet, and here she is in the closet choking on a shoe. She's got one shoelace, like she has a spinny wheel on the side, so she's got one shoelace wrapped around the spinny thing, and then the other shoelace is literally like up inside a wheel. I shouldn't be allowed to own a robot vacuum. That's what I'm telling you right now. I should not be allowed to own a robot vacuum. We are incompatible. On positive news, this one, I think I've told you guys that he has really high anxiety. So a couple of weeks ago, after a series of events, we just decided, like, let's go talk to the vet about this. So we went, and she was really lovely. And as I was explaining these things that we have kind of told ourselves, I try not to be an alarmist, right? And we have been telling ourselves that, oh, it's not that big a deal, and he's a rescue, and I'm sure it's just something he's picked up along the way, and you never know about his background. She was like, yeah, that's pretty good anxiety that boy's got going on. So she gave us some medication, and it's like we have a totally different dog. As he's huffing, like, oh my God, why are you telling the internet about me? He's totally different, and it's in a really positive way. So like when we go out now and we walk, instead of him freaking out about everything, it's almost like he just looks around like, hey guys, do you see this really great world out here? I love to see it. So some fun things on that front. And we didn't realize it. We thought he was fairly high energy, but that was just his anxiety, like trying to get out. And so now, like this, I don't walk him and then come in here and video for you guys. Like, this is just how he is all the time, which for a 3-year-old boxer is pretty incredible. So my husband's shoe has been saved. The robot vacuum timing has been corrected. She is no longer eating his shoe. There are 1,750 some odd of you out there. Those are my life updates. Let's talk stitching. So today I have, I feel like a fairly robust amount of information to give you about the project. So this, maybe I should have told you that in the beginning. Call me for YouTubing tips. Today I'm going to talk about the Gather Round series from Hands On Design. And it was a club. I don't know if you guys know it was a club, but it was actually a club when it started. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the club experience as well as the finished products and how I mounted it, because it is fully finished. I will show you a picture of what it looks like. We'll get there. We'll get there. And then I do have a little bit of haul. I don't normally have haul, but I have some haul today. So let's get into it. I thought that I had saved my packaging from the Hands On Design box club thing. Apparently I got a wild hair out my boo honey and decided I was going to clean up, and I got rid of the box, which was fine. There wasn't really much in it. But basically they sent a box at the beginning of the club, and inside the box there were some little round chalkboards for you to mount on. There was some twine, there was glue, there was magnets, there were the initial patterns. I'm sure there was other stuff, but I can't think of it. And then each month after that, you would get a padded envelope that just had the new patterns that you needed and then any floss that you might still be missing. I have never participated in a club before. It was delightful. I love Cathy. I love everything Cathy designs. And so I knew if I was going to take a risk on a club that Cathy would be the person I would do it with. I actually think it was her first club, and it was a delightful experience. It was in the beginning. Okay, so I come at this from a quilting background, and I thought that cross stitching was going to be cheaper than quilting. Boy, do I have the jokes. It can be. It isn't always. So the initial price I felt like was pretty steep, but then when I started calculating, okay, if I went out and I bought the linen and I bought the DMC and I bought all of it individually, it would take time and it would actually cost me more money. So I'm saying all of that because if you were interested in a club and it seems like the price is steep, that might help you sort of reconcile the cost if you're going to plan on doing it anyway. It just financially, I think it's a tough pill. So it can be a tough pill to swallow up front, but in the long run works out a little bit cheaper, and it's just a blast, especially if you love the designer. I love a plan so much. So I'm not sure that I would do a club if I didn't love nearly everything the designer did. I'm not sure I would go in blind like that, assuming it was a mystery club. So there's some parameters on that. But anyway, if she does another club, I would totally be in. I would encourage you to do the same. I think she did an exquisite job. Her attention to detail is killer, and this club was no exception. So as a part of the club, you got the patterns each month. Each season, you got patterns for 3 rounds and then 1 additional little thingamajig. She's now selling those separately, but all of those came in the box. So I haven't done the extra thingamajig, but it all came as part of the club and was delightful. So let me just show you really quickly. I have what I break them into spring, summer, fall, and winter. They are not called that. So if it comes out of my mouth, they're my words, not Cathy's words. But here is my display. So this is actually an old shutter. And I'm just going to show you one of these close up really quickly so that you can see. So these, the chalkboard came with the club, the rickrack, and the rickrack for every set came. So the chalkboard, the rickrack, the linen, the laser cut boards, the batting, the floss, the needle, the finishing floss that you need for cinching it on the back, the glue, the magnets, the twine. It all came together. Now, why did I decide to put it on a shutter? Great question. I initially had it like strung across the front of a TV cabinet in the pink room. And somebody, Henry, one day walked up to it with his big snotty nose and was like, okay, well, I worked kind of hard on that and I don't need dog boogers on my, as he's huffing again, I don't need dog boogers on my stitching. So I thought that's not going to work. I liked the swag, but I couldn't do it. I'm also in Cathy's Facebook group, and somebody found a really great piece at Hobby Lobby, and it's sort of like, it's flat on the bottom and it's tall and there's an arch at the top, and then there are like 3 distinct intersections of stuff in the middle, and they had put the 3 round things in the middle. That looked awesome, and I thought I was going to do that for a while. The style, I mean, like this cabinet is a really great example of the style of our house. We want things to be old. We want it to have patina. If it's falling apart, that's even better. I mean, not that I want everything from a junkyard. I just mean like we like things that have history and that have story. So getting something at Hobby Lobby isn't terrible, but I prefer something that has character. And I started thinking, what could I put it on? And I don't even know why, but on Facebook Marketplace, I was served an ad for a set of shutters, like traditional house shutters, you know, playing with the slats, boop, 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 boop. And I thought, man, that's a great size for these little rounds because it's kind of narrow, but I didn't really want slats, boop, boop, boop. And couldn't think of, like, I just couldn't figure out a way to make it work. But then I started searching for shutters and I found these, and they came in a set of 4, and they had the most hideous blue fabric on them. So the back, I don't know if you'll be able to see this. Maybe if I move how I'm sitting in this chair, kind of. So there's a little bar here, and this is held in place with just like a tiny spring. Obviously didn't come with the picture hanger. That's an Emily edition. So I took the top and bottom bar doohickey out, and I bought chicken wire and cut the chicken wire to size, and then decided I was gonna staple it in place. Don't do that. Don't staple it in place. The staple ended up coming through the front of the shutter, and I was like, well, shoot. Took the staple out. Luckily, it didn't cause too much damage. I just sort of patted it back down. But I laid it in there, and then I was talking to my husband, and I was like, I think it'll kind of be held in place by these bars at the top and bottom, but do you have any suggestions? And he goes, well, you could glue it. And I thought, glue it? Who's gonna glue it? Me. I'm gonna glue it. I did. I glued that booger right on down. It was perfect. The hot glue was perfect, and it dries clear, and I figured if I ever didn't want it on there, that hot glue would just chisel right off a lot easier than something like wood glue. So that's the story of the shutter. It came in a pack of 4. I found it on Facebook. It had really super hideous fabric. I washed the shutters, washed them with Murphy's oil soap multiple times because they were disgusting. Put the chicken wire on there, hot glued it down, and then just took everything from Cathy's kit and put these little rounds on there. And I don't know if you can see right here. It's very difficult to see in the light. I've just tied the little, what's the word, Emily? Chalkboard to the chicken wire with the twine that she gave. And I mean, I really kind of love it. So would you like to see the different pieces? This, again, it's so long I can't get close to you. So I just need you to squint maybe for these. Each series has 3, it's like a kind of a theme. So she has one that has a quilt block type in the middle. Then she has one that has words. In this one, it's gather butterflies. And then there's some sort of little house. I can hold the house closer for you. Isn't that lovely? And they are so fun. Now, a lot of people stitch these in real time. Not me. Didn't do it. I felt like they took a really long time to stitch. At the time, I was not stitching every day like I am now. And there is so much detail in these patterns. To me, there is so much detail. You have to do a lot of floss changes, which for me takes time. So it took me half a century. I still think it was worth the investment. And then I will show you, this is my great storage system. I will show you the other seasons just for funsies, because if you're not familiar with them, you might like to see them. So for me, like I said, spring to me is gather butterflies. This is the summer, which is gather wildflowers. These are cone flowers. The pink ones are cone flowers. A lot of confetti stitches, in this series. And then the words for that one are gather wildflowers. All of these patterns are Ada friendly. I chose the linen kit, but you can choose, and you could have chosen an Ada kit. You can still do these on Ada. The words are over 1. You don't have to do the words over 1. She also supplies you the words over 2. I just liked the detail. No, I like the detail now. When I was doing it, I hated the detail and I didn't even want to be friends with Cathy for a minute there. And then this is the house for Wildflowers. Isn't it cute? Don't you love it? All the rickrack on these came from Lady Dot Creates. And she has them, they are specific to each, like butterflies is purple, Wildflowers is pink. This is Gather Pumpkins and it's gray. So again, with the quilt block, that little crow. I love it. I just love it. The over one words. Now, this was a real treat. Okay, so the pumpkins are lovely. I didn't realize that the pumpkins were actually on a second page, and I was squinting like it was nobody's business trying to see how to do those gosh darn pumpkins because they are over one. And then once I was finished, realized that she had included it larger. So if ever you're working on a Cathy chart and you think, gosh, this is hard, go ahead and read your pattern again because she's probably made it easy for you. This is the building. Now on this one, don't quote me, but I'm pretty sure that she wanted the windows and the doors to be black and match the roof. And that just didn't feel very friendly to me. White doors sort of belong on a barn to me. And I use 30-something hundred. Okay, let's go back in time. Sidebar about windows. I was working on Main Street that I showed you guys a couple weeks ago. And Main Street has lamp posts. And on the lamp post, they have these big globes. And I think you were supposed to use white floss. And I just didn't like it. And my sister said something about, do you have a really light blue? And I do have a very icy blue, which to me, like, hints at glass. So now anytime there's a window or something that's supposed to be glass, that's what I use. But of course, because I'm on camera, I can't remember what it is. Let's move on. Gather pine cones. I love the trees. I love the pine cones that are on the vine down there, and then the little sprigs of pine, and then that cardinal. So good. So good. Here are the words. Again, I did them over one. And she did gather, hold on, let me show you really quickly. I think it'll be easier if she did the fonts similar, but different each time. So like this one's a little bit more scripty and this one's a little bit more serif on the top words. Gather is done differently, but the bottom words look very similar. So there's some consistency throughout the series. Oh, and I threw it on the floor. Whoops. Cabin in the Woods. Just fabulous. And then, like I said, she has some smalls that are separate. Like one of them says Gather Memories. One of them says Gather Pine Cones. I don't remember what they all say, and I didn't bring them. I'm so sorry. So sorry. I'll put them in the video description. That way, if you're interested, you can go check them out and see the complete series, since I didn't represent all of it today. But I got close. I told you most of it. So the shutter hangs in my bathroom. It actually hangs in the pink room bathroom, and I get to see it all the time, and I love it. And so if you are not choosing, okay, let's just be real. A lot of designers are doing patterns where you can swap stuff out. Love that. Fundamentally, I love that. But I can't always, if I bought every series where you swap something out, I would be swapping things out constantly. And also, where am I going to store all that stuff? So I try to be very choosy about the series where I can swap things out. And this was one I just felt like I was going to love all of it. And I do, and I recommend it. I think it's really super cute. I think I had another point about that, but gosh, I don't know what it was. Okay, let's talk about Dasher and Dancer. Most of you probably know that I am hosting a stitch along for Dasher and Dancer with my friend Carrie of Red Velvet Quilts. I have not been great about showing you the pattern again because I eat, breathe, live, and sleep Dasher and Dancer. And so I just assume all of y'all do too, which is not accurate. So last time I was talking about it and I didn't show the pattern. I'll make sure that I put the pattern in here so that somebody who's new knows what that looks like. But I got the March assignment finished and the April assignment. So I'm going to bring this a little closer to you. I'm going to try to move it across the page. We might have to go to pictures. April was much faster than March, but I am loving it. Super duper loving it. I am stitching this on Fox and Rabbit 40 count melting moments, melting memories, melting something I can't remember the name of right now. Failing at Flosstube today. I'm using Weeks Dye Works Lily Pad. Yep, I just picked up the skein to look at it because I couldn't remember. And I'm ready to move to May. I texted Carrie and I was saying, look, I finished April because I'm super slow on everything. I said, I think I'm going to start May. She goes, I forbid it. So Dasher and Dancer's humming right along. Oh, but let's make a note about that. Okay. I have been watching the hashtag like it is my job. And Instagram is laughing in my face because there have been several of you that are stitching it. There have been several of you who tagged me and I still didn't see it until today. I don't know how that happened. It could be user error. I'm willing to accept it could be my fault, but I'm pretty great about when it says you have a notification, reading the notification. So I have a better chance of seeing it if you actually tag me instead of just using the hashtag. If you tag me and I don't comment or heart it or something, it's because I didn't see it. I am all up in your Kool-Aid about this stitch along, guys, all up in it. So if I haven't commented, it's just because I didn't see it. I want you to know I'm cheering you on. I want you to know that I'm so happy you're doing it with us. And I want you to know I'm not neglecting you. The Instagram gods are apparently against me, or I can't use Instagram. Maybe both. Jury's still out. But Dasher and Dancer's coming right along. The last thing I have a note about on the stitching front is that I've got to get hopping on fully finishing items because I am coming to the end of my fully finished previous stitches. I still have some finished stitches, but I like to bring you guys fully finished objects and I need to shake a tail feather on that because I'm almost out, which means I don't have a lot of Flosstube content. So I gotta get moving on that. The next time we meet, we're gonna talk about, so I asked you guys, I think 2 videos ago, if you'd be interested in seeing how I finish something. And a lot of you said yes. Maybe that's not true. Maybe a lot of you didn't say yes. Maybe nobody said no. But I did take pictures every step of the way as I was fully finishing Batter Up by Little House Needleworks. Country Cottage Needleworks? Little House Needleworks. I don't know, one of them. I took pictures every step of the way and then I will talk you through it, kind of like a voiceover in that video. I tried to do it by actually recording the video and it was a hot mess. So I just spared us all the frustration. I took really detailed photos and so I'll walk you through that next time we're together. And I have that date, but it's too far down on my list and I can't read it right now. Okay, let's talk about haul. I'm gonna regret saying that so loudly later when I'm editing. You guys have been on a journey with me for the needlework stand. And y'all know I bought the Lowry and that I love it. I think I said last time, but maybe not. I'm going to say it again because it's still true. All I have known is holding my hoop in my hand and stitching. And I liked it. I had no complaints about it whatsoever. But since I have been using the Lowry, now when I pick up a hoop to stitch, I'm like, no. I really have very quickly, once I figured out what the right position for me was, stitching with two hands is my jam. Oh my gosh, it's so much fun. But as a part of that, so we talked about stands, and then we talked about floss drops, and I was like, I think I picked some, and then they didn't come, and then we were waiting. So I chose Annie's Keepers, and I'm gonna show you this bag because it is laughably huge. This is 300 keepers. I ordered 600. And I was feeling so good about this. I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get all these keepers, and I really like Annie's Keepers because that way, if I don't have certain colors, if you're familiar with Pip and Chip bobbins, which was the other one that my heart was like, oh, the Pip and Chips. Their bobbins have the colors pre-printed on them, which is lovely. But if you don't have that color, it's basically a wasted bobbin. And so I knew I wanted to get sets for DMC, Classic Color Works, and Weeks. And I was having like heartburn over having bobbins that don't have floss on them. And while you might say, just run to the store and get the floss. No, my pockets are not that deep. So I liked the Annie's Keepers because I could start with what I've got and then I could add to it over time. Now, these, I think there's some paper in here. You can tell I haven't opened them yet. I think that there are white circle labels in here that I can put on the little plastic doober jobbers. I found a shop on Etsy that I really liked, and I was gonna order their stickers. I am so particular about things matching. And I liked that all the labels for those three manufacturers, Weeks, Classic Color Works, DMC, I liked that I could get all the same color. They were all just plain white labels, but they came in yellow and blue and green, and they came in a bunch of different colors. And they were all printed the same. So like the label would say 3524 or whatever, like the number, and then underneath it would say DMC. It didn't match close enough, and it was gonna drive me insane. So I didn't choose that Etsy shop, although I did really like it. And if you're not as crazy as I am, those might appeal to you. So I will put I will put the link to those, the ones I did not buy, I will put it in the description box below because I read very good things about the stickiness of the labels and all that and all that. I am just nuts. And so I couldn't handle how some of those labels looked. I ended up choosing the Pip and Chip stickers. They have shipped from the UK. They should be here next week, maybe. I don't know. So I was feeling all like, yes, we're gonna get the bobbins. We're gonna put the floss on the bobbins. It's gonna be incredible. And then these 2 bags arrived and I was like, ew, that's a lot. So I'm feeling a little nervous now. I'm kind of glad it's taking a while for some of these things to come in because it's giving me time to like mentally prepare for this task ahead. I will say, okay, so I'm gonna show you some patterns here in a second. I placed my order for Annie's Keepers from a shop called Beautiful Sip and Stitch. It's Beautiful, B-E-E, Beautiful Sip and Stitch. They're in Illinois, run by a lovely lady named Brett. And so my thinking was, if I'm gonna place an order for Annie's Keepers, anytime I'm gonna place an order for somebody to ship me something, I will add on other things. Like I always have a list of cross-stitch things that I want. I'm maybe not so interested that I'm gonna have you ship me one pattern, but if you're already shipping me other stuff, go ahead and add things to my order. And so I looked around at different shops that offered Annie's Keepers and who also had some of the patterns I wanted. And that's how I chose Beautiful Sip and Stitch. I will say that there was a hiccup with my order. And I'm telling you this to tell you that they handled it beautifully. I ordered 3 patterns and then 2 bags of the Annie's Keepers. I got 3 patterns and 1 bag of Annie's Keepers. And I just messaged them and I said, hey, what happened? Did it get left out? Is it lost? Are you out? What's going on here? Because I was charged, but I don't have it. They replied immediately. They put it in the mail the next day. They were like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I didn't, just an oversight. And I get it. We're all human. Nobody's perfect. So I wanted to tell you about my hiccup because I want you to know that their customer service is awesome. So there's that. Emily, what patterns did you buy? Well, so glad you asked. I got an Ode to Libraries by Heartstring Samplery. This came out at Market. I am obsessed with the library. Like, obsessed. I think I've read 19 books so far this year. I do all of my reading on audiobooks. I get all of them from the library. I actually belong to 2 different libraries. And I really love the library, guys. So there's another pattern by Plum Street, maybe, that has in fact, I know it is, because Paulette put a giant person on top. Paulette, she loves scale. I was reading an article the other day in an old cross stitcher magazine where she was like, I encourage people to play with scale. And I'm like, that's why you put giant bunnies on the roof. Now I understand. And I liked it. It was on my to stitch list. The library one that she had was on my to stitch list. And then when this came out, I was like, it has to be this one because I love the flowers. I love that everything is coming out of the book. 10 out of 10. And in case you can't read it, it says the very existence of libraries affords the best evidence that we may yet have hope for the future of humanity. Amen and amen. Y'all know how I feel about my swans. I have the Christmas swan. I have the summer swan. I have the spring swan. Brenda Gervais, this is not new. It is just very shiny. I'm now part of my arsenal. And then I got a Stacy Nash animal cracker. You guys. So Tara Sullivan, Sully Stitches, did the stand-up bowl for the Super Bowl and invited everybody to start a stand-up. And that was great. Maybe animal crackers were a big deal before then. I don't know. But to me, they shot up like a rocket after the stand-up bowl. And now it's all animal crackers all the time on the internet. Fine. I think Lily's cute. I like Maggie May, all that and all that. But have you met Bobbin? I mean, so freaking adorable. So Bobbin is now part of the crew. We will make that happen. Coming soon to a hoop near you. All right, I am in a Seraphim club. They sent Winter Mint some time ago. It actually looks pretty decent. It's a dusty green. Okay, this is not new. This is not new. If you're in the Garon Seraphim Club, look away if you don't have your stuff yet, although you should because this was a long time ago. Okay, so this is the green, right? Trying not to rattle, I apologize. They sent something in the middle, and then this time they sent Smoky Mountain Mist. Oh, that looks like trash on here. Maybe I could do a picture. Man, that looks awful. Okay, they're very similar. They're very, very similar. To me, one is more green and one is more blue. I love them. They're my jam. The end. That's it. Okay. The other thing I ordered was linen from a gal whose shop name on Etsy is Count on Linens. Now, I am stitching Winterberries and Pine. Not currently, I'm going to stitch Winterberries and Pine. I want to stitch it on a really soft pink not bubblegum pink. It has to be a blush pink. It has to be so barely pink you can barely tell it's pink. Like, I had a lot of criteria for this, and I really, really super duper needed to be 36 count, okay? Because Winterberries and Pine is already small, and while I gravitate towards 40 count, if I do Winterberries and Pine on 40 count, it's gonna be even smaller. I mean, I really want Winterberries and Pine to be like billboard sized. So now I don't want it to be, I'm not dedicated enough to making it large where I'm gonna stitch it on like 28. I'm not using 2 strands. That's what I'm telling you. I'm not using 2 strands. But I think it was Emily Call posted some fabrics from Count On Linens. Oh, you can kind of see. It is just the lightest pink you have ever seen. And I will post a picture of this with all of the Winterberries and Pine Floss. You can't tell anything from it if I hold it up to the camera, so I will try to put a picture in here so that you guys can see it. Jill, who does Count On Linens, also sent, this was the, you know how a lot of Etsy sellers will send you a little freebie? She sent this thread conditioner, which I thought was so sweet. She was delightful. So her linens come 28, I think. I think they come 28, 36, and 40. And she had 28, but not 36 or 40. So I sent her a note and I said, hi, are you going to be getting more? And she said, yes, it'll be Thursday. Do you want me to remind you? And I said, nope, you have plenty going on. I will set a reminder on my end. Thank you so much. Thursday came. I had not yet gone to purchase it. And she messaged me and she said, I am so sorry. It's not going to be Thursday. It's going to be Saturday. I said, no problem. I will adjust my little reminder dealie. I did, and I think I set my reminder for like noon on Saturday. And she still reached out, even though I said, I don't need you to. And she said, hey, I wanted to let you know I put it in the shop. And it's fabulous. So I'm very eager to stitch on it. I'm very eager to have found it. I did reach out to Jessica, the Sweetwater Stitcher, because she has had a pink in one of her pieces recently, and I was like, I watched your video, I can't find it, what is it? And so she recommended Bashful by Picture This Plus or Morganite by Fiber on a Whim. And I didn't have anything against either of those. One of them, I can't remember which one now, but one of them looked just a tad too strong for me, and I thought, I'll give Count On Linens a shot. So great customer service, great product, great communication. She shipped really fast, 10 out of 10 stars. And that, I feel like I have junk all around me. That brings us to the end of episode 7 here in the Pink Room. The next time we meet, put my hands down. Gosh, I talk with my hands so much. The next time we meet, like I said, it'll be April 23rd. And we will talk about fully finishing Batter Up by Little House Needleworks. See, we're at the end now. We're at the end of my notes and I can look and check. Batter Up by Little House Needleworks. I'll have the tutorial for it with a whole bunch of pictures. I know you could use the finishing for any piece that's square or rectangular. It's just a self-standing little doodad. It's not, I don't want to call it a stand. Maybe it is a stand-up. I don't know. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it in April. Let's just talk about it in April, guys. We don't need to get into those nitty-gritty details. I think that's it. Thanks so much for hanging out with me here in the Pink Room. I appreciate you spending time with me. All 1,750 some odd of you wackadoodles who like to hear me talk about how the robot eats my husband's shoes. Still tickles me pink. It really does. Tickles me pink like the Pink Room. God, that was just a terrible, terrible pun. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry I did that to you. Until I talk to you next time, take care of yourself. Happy stitching. Talk to you later. Love you. Bye.